before Fatiha, the first rak'ah. And the other 3 takbir is in the second rak'ah before I go for ruku. Clear? Everyone's good? All right. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى فجعله غثاء أحوى سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى ونيسرك لليسرى فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى سيذكر من يخشى ويتجنبها الأشقى الذي يصلى النار الكبرى ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا قد أفلح من تذكى قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى ولا تؤثر بل قد أفلح من تذكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. بارك الله فيك. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. هل أتاك حديث الغاشية وجوه يومئذ خاشعة عاملة ناصبة تصلى نارا حامية تسقى من عين آنية ليس لهم طعام إلا من ضريع لا يسمن ولا يغني من جوع وجوه يومئذ ناعمة لسعيها راضية في جنات عالية لا تسمع فيها لاغية فيها عين جارية فيها سرر مرفوعة وأكواب موضوعة ونمارك مسفوفة وزرابي مبثوثة أفلا ينظرون إلى الإبل كيف خلقت وإلى السماء كيف رفعت وإلى الجبال كيف نصبت وإلى الأرض كيف سطحت فذكر إنما أنت مذكر لست عليهم بمسيطر إلا من تولى وكفر فيعذبه الله العذاب الأكبر إن إلينا إيابهم ثم إن علينا حسابهم. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. بارك الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. تحيات. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد. Very short reminders, my brothers, respected brothers, elders, sisters. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has reminded us through these beautiful 10 days of Dhul Hijjah. What is the spirit of Dhul Hijjah? What is Dhul Hijjah teaching us? Dhul Hijjah is teaching us the spirit of Ibrahim alayhi salam and the spirit of sacrifice and spirit of letting go of our attachment for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That we in this world, no matter what we're attached to, one day, we're all going to leave this attachment and we'll go back to Allah. We're all sent from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this world for a short and appointed time. And after that time is up, we'll all be returning to Allah. So how do we train ourselves, prepare ourselves for that journey? How do we prepare ourselves for that journey back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And Ibrahim alayhi salam was called Khalil, the friend of Allah, right? We all know Ibrahim alayhi salam was called Khalilullah. He was the friend of Allah. His greatest attachment was with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He left his family. He was thrown into the fire. He was given all types of difficulties, but he never gave in to anyone but Allah. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered Ibrahim alayhi salam to leave his son that he was making dua for, he wanted a son, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted him a son, and he was beloved to him. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Ibrahim alayhi salam to leave the son and the wife in the middle of nowhere, right? And what was that training for? Does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala really want us to suffer? By our suffering and sacrifice, does Allah's greatness increase even a bit? Even if all of us pray all day, does Allah's greatness increase any bit? And if we stop praying, does Allah's greatness decrease even a bit? No, it doesn't. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is preparing them for their best self. When we give up our attachment for the sake of Allah, attachment of this world, for the attachment of the hereafter, for the attachment of Allah, then we prepare ourselves and our hearts to be at the best level. And at that level, we're able to serve. We don't do that out of our whims. We don't do that out of our desire. We do that according to what Allah told us in the Quran. We do it according to what the Prophet taught us through the Sunnah. We do it through consultation with our parents, consultation with our elders, consultation with our scholars. We don't do it out of whim. Ibrahim a.s. was no regular human being. If me and you got a dream that you got to go slaughter your kid, that's not going to be permissible. That is not permissible for us to do that. No scholar, no human being, no parents, no one's going to ever tell you to do that. But Ibrahim a.s. was different. He was a prophet. And the dream of the prophets were true. And when he got the dream, he realized that this is not just me having a dream, Allah is telling me something. And he kept having the dream until he realized, Allah, this is the order of Allah. And he went to his son, and what did the son say? His son was like some of you young boys here. Some of you young boys. And the father came and said, Allah told me to sacrifice you, slaughter you for the sake of Allah. And then if we told that to our kid, they would be like, are you crazy? What happened? Mom? They're like, Dad's going crazy, right? But his son, he knows that my dad is no ordinary human being. He's a prophet of Allah. He doesn't do anything weird. He only does what Allah tells him. He says, Satajiduni insha'Allah ma'as-sabirin. You will see me, you may find me, O Father, among the patient. And they went, and they wanted to do that ultimate sacrifice, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not gain anything by that sacrifice. Allah was just testing and seeing the condition of their heart. That's all Allah was testing. In this world, if you ever give anything up for the sake of Allah, Allah will give you 10 times back in this world. And Allah will give you infinite times more in the hereafter. Remember that. Whenever you give something up, you feel like you're missing out and your friends are partying. You know, everybody else is having fun. Everybody else is doing all these things. And if you feel that I'm not doing it because I'm Muslim, or I got to pray, or I got to eat halal, or I got to do this, or I got to do that, whatever you're doing, that is for your best. Allah hasn't told you a single thing that is not beneficial to you. Show me one single thing that Allah has told you to do, and it's really harmful for you. The entire purpose of what Allah is telling you to do in this world is for your benefit in this world and in the hereafter. Not just benefit in the hereafter, also in this world. But Prophet Ibrahim a.s. was very, very different. He was a prophet. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala replaced the son Ismail, right, with the ram, with the sheep, right? When Allah replaced, Allahu Akbar, then the Prophet and Ibrahim alayhi salam and his son Ismail and the angels, they said this together. According to one of the tafsir, this is mentioned that Ibrahim alayhi salam and Ismail alayhi salam, they praise Allah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, walillahi alhamd. These takbirat and these hamd and praise of Allah came from Ibrahim alayhi salam, his son Ismail alayhi salam, and the angels are witnessing this. And Allah taught us that you will never be asked. After Prophet Ibrahim, nobody else is ever going to be asked to slaughter their kids. But what you have to learn from this spirit of sacrifice, that you will be asked to sacrifice your ego. You'll be asked to sacrifice your desire. You'll be asked to sacrifice your temptation for the sake of going to your higher self, for the sake of getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we have to ask ourselves that, are we ready to do that? Are we ready to give up our ego for the sake of pleasing Allah and getting to our higher self? Ask yourself, when you are saying certain things you're saying, is it from your lower self or is it your higher self? When you're doing certain things you're doing with your friends, is it from your lower self or higher self? Your routine every day, is it from your lower self or your higher self? What is the spirit of sacrifice these 10 days of Dhul Hijjah teach us? People that went for Hajj, our friends and families, relatives, they're in Hajj right now. They left all their attachments. They're in the white, no matter what type of car they drove, no matter what type of homes they lived in, how much is there in their bank, they send messages. Our friends messaged us and said, forgive us. If we don't come back, forgive us. Take care of our kids. Right? They leave a well behind and they're ready to go. If they die in the path of Allah, they will. This is an ultimate preparation to go back to Allah. I was just 2 weeks ago, I was in Maulana Rumi's grave in Konya, in Turkey. And Maulana Rumi, you know, when time came close to his death, he said, do not mourn my death. Because my meeting with Allah is the best day of my life. It's the happiest day. So city of Konya, to remember that statement, every year, the time of his death, they celebrate. The entire city celebrates that this is the time that he went and met Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are beautiful examples from our scholars and teachers that show us the spirit of getting closer to Allah, getting back to Allah. When we say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, what does it mean to you guys? What does it mean when you say Allahu Akbar? Is it just an empty words? Allahu Akbar, do you feel in your heart Allah is greater than my studies, than my distractions, everything you're doing at that moment? When the muazzin says Allahu Akbar, you have to drop it for a few minutes. Allah's not saying give it up. Allah's saying just drop it for a few minutes, stand up, make wudu and pray. And then let's go back. When you have that break, you're playing with your friends, you're hanging out with your buddies, you're watching a movie, whatever you're doing. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar lillahi. Give it up for a minute and go pray. And then when you come back and continue doing the work that you do, Allah will bless you in it. My brothers and sisters, the spirit of Ibrahim alayhi salam was the spirit of preparing his family to become the foundation for khair. That his wife, Hajara's tawakkul on Allah and the effort, seeking Allah's bounty and not giving up. Allah is going to give me a way out. And until the Zamzam and the water came, and they became the foundation of that community of Makkah and people around them, and until the Day of Judgment, we will all follow their examples. How can me and my wife and my kids and my family become an example like Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam? That is the spirit of Dhul Hijjah. How can my family can sacrifice and get to our higher self, give up things that are according to our ego, so we become our best self through the spirit of 10 days of Dhul Hijjah. We follow the footsteps of Ibrahim alayhi salam, Hajar alayhi salam, and Ismail alayhi salam. What was going on in the heart of Hajar when she was left alone? What was going on for days? When the food was running out, the water was running out, what was going on in her heart? What was she saying to Allah? How can our heart be like that? When we say Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad, we just, during a takbirat, we say salawat upon the Prophet. Do we feel the love for the Prophet? When we say Allahu Akbar, do we feel that Allah is greater than everything else? May Allah grant us the ability and tawfiq through these beautiful 10 days of Dhul Hijjah to have this beautiful spirit of Ibrahim and his family, Hajar and Ismail alayhi salam. Eid Mubarak, everybody. Inshallah, may Allah bless you, may Allah increase you, may Allah make you and make all of us, give us tawfiq to continue to strive to our best self. Ameen. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, walillahi alhamd. Jazakumullah khair. Eid Mubarak.